Hi, I am James Annunziato, and I am doing this interview for Juan Marcos. I have been coaching baseball for 11 years now, at least as a head coach. I've been coaching in total for 14 years. I started right after I started playing baseball. It's always good to kind of know people and know how to get your foot in the door. Because after I started playing baseball, I reached out to some of my old coaches, see if they need any help, and I was a pitcher, so for North Haven Legion, they had me come on and work with some of their pitchers. And I did that for a couple of years. And when openings came up there, I moved up to assistant coach since I had been with them for a couple of years, and then to head coach for Junior Legion the following year, my fourth year there. After I did that and had that experience, I started teaching at 22. My school had an opening for a middle school baseball coach, and because I had experience as a head coach, fortunately, getting to know people and work my way up, I got that job and did that for a year. In the following year, they needed a varsity head coach for the school where I was teaching, and now that I had 2 years of head coach experience, I interviewed and got the job for varsity head coach. So, how long have or what have been some of the hardest things I needed to do as a coach? There's a lot, actually. There's a lot of hard things when you first start coaching that you don't really realize. First off, if you've been playing baseball for a really long time, there's things that you do that you kind of take for granted as being something that needs to be taught or something that needs to be worked on in practice because you've been doing it for so long that it comes second nature. But then as you start to work with younger and younger guys and the burden falls on your shoulders, you start to realize that there are things that need to be taught and worked on so that they become muscle memory. Some other hard things, you need to learn how to balance a wide range of different player personalities and emotions. There are some kids who do really well and respond really well to intense kind of go get 'em and criticisms and I don't want to say yelling because yelling's not really my style, but more of a loud, boisterous approach, whereas other kids will fold under that kind of pressure. If you put too much pressure on them, if you get too intense, you kind of get that loud, screaming, high intensity approach. Some kids don't respond well to that, so you need to learn about each individual kid and not just what approach works for you as a coach, but what works for them as a player. And then obviously I think you talk to any coach who's been coaching for a while, and even coaches that are retired, will say one of the hardest parts about coaching is balancing parent expectations and what parents maybe have seen in the past in Little League with what the expectations are for competitive high school baseball. It's hard, I think, for a lot of kids I've learned over the years. In town, they're used to being the best players on their teams. They're used to being on all-star teams. But now you put everybody together, and they're not only together, but you got freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, so 4 years worth of kids together at once. It may be the first time in their entire baseball careers that they may be asked to take a role position or take a position where they need to learn and come up for the year. And that can be a tough pill to swallow for the kids, but also for the parents. And, I get it as a parent. I have dreams of seeing my kids excelling and being the stars of their team one day, but there's also, in any given program, 20 to 30 other parents who feel the exact same way about their kid. So what you have to kind of do after a while is you got to set a line of, your job as a coach is to every day set a lineup that you think is going to win the game. And no matter what you do, there's going to be guys who are on the bench whose parent thinks that they should be in the game. And that's going to be true if you sub them in, then that other kids now, their parents going to think that their kid should be in the game. So that's one of those things as a coach that's hard because it's a lose-lose situation. No matter what you do, you hear it, and no matter what you do, it's something that you know you're going to have to deal with at the end of the day. So you kind of learn to deal with it in a way that's political and diplomatic, and try to get everybody to kind of see your point. But that's hard too. So, the three things, just to recap, of hard things would be not taking what players can do for granted. Making sure that you know what you have to teach. Playing time, especially for dealing with parents, and then also getting to know each and every individual kid and what kind of coaching styles work for them, and not just what fits your coaching style. Some of the most rewarding things to me have nothing to do with winning. Because as a coach, and I guess this could go under hardest things too, when your team wins, it's the players who get the congratulations, and the players get the recognition, and the coach kind of goes under the radar. When you lose, it's the coach goes under the spotlight, and the players tend to get pushed under the rug a little bit. So it's one of those spots where the coach kind of has everything to lose and little to gain. So winning is not something that I prioritize in my top moments, because winning is a byproduct of just doing everything else right. So some of the things that I love to see, kids who came in to a program and thought about giving up or quitting, and then end up being integral parts of a team and stick with it and show perseverance. I also love to see great moments of sportsmanship. One of my favorite stories is from a few years ago. I had a team that was fighting for a playoff spot. Kid gives up a home run, gives up the lead. As the other player is rounding third base, starts to walk over, and I'm thinking, is he going to get in a fight or something? And he shakes his hand and congratulates him and tips his cap on the home run. And even though the other team, I honestly, over the years, I don't even remember who won that game anymore, but I remember that moment. And those are the kind of things that I enjoy as a coach. As far as moments, I enjoy seeing, it's actually not even individual moments, it's little things. Like you can see right now, my team's on the bus and they're bonding as a group, listening to music. We've got banquets that we do and that we attend. The players have little nicknames for each other, and there's fun moments and stories that come up over the years that make people smile and make people laugh, and that's what I really think it's all about. Baseball is not just about winning. Every time you go to a game, one team is going to win and one team is going to lose. And I talked to my team earlier this year about how scientifically people are sadder when they lose than they are happy when they win. Which means that if people take that approach, then, when you think about it, every game, more sadness is being created than happiness if winning is your only priority, because people take losing harder than they enjoy winning, scientifically. So we've got to get away from that. We've got to be playing the game for other reasons. And for me, I like being a baseball coach, and I like being a baseball player because it's a personality. And being a baseball player is not just what I do, and being a baseball coach is not just what I do, it's who I am. And that's something that I think is really big with baseball in particular. So I was just looking at the questions. Do I believe that sports have a good impact on players' success outside of the sport? Of course. Like I talked about earlier, kids have to face adversity. They have to earn a spot on the field. They have to deal with competition of other people wanting their spot and being better than the competition. And that mirrors real life. If you're in a business, there's a bunch of people who want a promotion, and the company at the same time is also trying to be better than their competitors in their industry. You've got to learn to take direction. You've got to learn to take hardships, such as a loss, and bounce back from it. You have to learn in the moment to not react when things don't go your way, and not to make things worse, and find a way to calm down. And those are things that, in my experience, sports replicates and gives people practice at better than anything else. Really, in their youth as they grow up. Do I promote academic success? Big time. Being a teacher and a coach is nice because I get to form two relationships with the kids, both as their teacher and as their coach. Academics come first. It's the only thing that I will let kids miss practice for, is for academic related and also family related events, things like that. So, your family comes first, and then if you're religious, then your religion and academics, and then sports has to be the priority. If you have your priorities set so that sports are number one, then that's a person that I honestly feel bad for, because sports are only going to take you so far and only going to last a certain part of your life. You got to have everything else set up first in order to actually be able to enjoy the sport.